Hi, I'm Alaina Percival, CEO and co-founder at Women Who Code, the largest and most active community of technical women in the world. We are thrilled today to have Monica Blaylock, who is an engineering manager at DoorDash. She is a mother, a woman who codes, and she loves building impactful products and problem solving in collaborative and diverse environments. Welcome, Monica.
Hi, Elena. So as you said, I'm Monica, a technical woman. Yes, I have been in the industry for over 20 years with different roles. Obviously, started as almost like a full stack engineer and kind of got my way into front end. Really love doing front end work. And about maybe 7 or 8 years ago, I decided to take the leap and go into management. And I'm here now at DoorDash as an engineering manager. Actually, from our office in Berlin that I just moved last week.
I love that office. I'm looking at you and it looks as though you're in a spaceship.
Yeah, we're delivering food now to space. That's our new mission.
Is that the new mission? Yeah, I love it. So Monica, I'm a DoorDash user, so I'm very familiar with it, but maybe not everyone is. Could you just quickly introduce DoorDash and tell us a little bit about the culture?
Sure. So DoorDash is a last mile logistics company. At US, we're mostly known for being a food delivery, but at this point, we're much more than that. Our mission is empowering local economies. So if you think about small and mid-sized businesses and how can we empower them and have them being able to deliver their goods anywhere within that city, that's sort of our goal. So we work really close with merchants. We are laser focused on consumers, and we use our logistics platform in order to enable that. Working for DoorDash, so it's a very high-paced company, very high energy. We have a lot of goals. Tony said, in the IPO day, let's focus on the initial. We have a long way to go. So really big plans. So I would say, and this is what I usually say when I'm trying to, when I'm talking in my hiring manager, is just like, if you're looking for technical, big scale, challenging problems, a high pace company, and ability to have impact. Even though we are already a pretty big company, it's incredible how much impact each group can have. So if you're looking for that, definitely DoorDash is the way. As a woman in engineer, I would say there's a ton of investment on really, giving you enough support for you to take your career to the next level. There is mentorship programs where you can have access to, more seasoned engineers if you're at the beginning of your career. If you're in the mid of your career and you want to try management, there's programs in order to enable you that. And there's actually some for access to leadership. There's actually also a program where you can actually have meetings with the M team in order for you to, as the company is really trying to diverse even that level.
Yeah. So if someone was excited to be on your team specifically, can you tell us what team they should be inquiring about?
Well, right now, if they're willing to move to Berlin, I'm more than happy to take them. I'm hiring Android, web, and backend engineers. So definitely, we are hoping to launch in Germany and in Europe in the near future. And we really, as we talked before about how important it is to connect with our users, DoorDash is making a huge investment, not only in Europe, but Australia, Japan, to build local teams, to really understand the consumers, the needs, and really build a product that is not just a vanilla that is applied all over the world, but it really connects to each user. So if people are excited and Europe seems like a good place, to send them my resume. My LinkedIn is, my profile is on LinkedIn. Yes. And if you don't want to move to Berlin, there's opportunities in the US, Canada, Japan, and Australia. All great opportunities.
So you have a pretty exciting background. I had the opportunity to look at your LinkedIn. Can you just tell us a little bit about your professional journey?
Sure. Yeah. So I actually grew up in Portugal and I went to college there. And after finishing college, I really felt like I needed to know more. The world was out there. So I took the opportunity to do this internship. Actually, Portugal government at the time had program that you could apply, and they would guarantee you that you would work on the area you study, but you didn't know anywhere in the world you would end up. Everything was open. And I was lucky enough to end up in San Francisco for a one-year internship, but Wire Digital at the time, if you know the Wire magazine, it was in their search engine, hotbot, very few people know, but it was an amazing experience. I ended up being offered a position there, and lived a little bit in the Netherlands while I was waiting for my visa, and then finally settling down in San Francisco, with my now husband, and 3 kids later, I'm making now the move to come to Berlin. So, very, very exciting.
Yeah, that's an impressive journey. And I love the kind of different places that I saw along the way, and just really getting to see the depth of your experience and kind of how far you've come as really a leader in the industry. So one of the things that our members really struggle with almost is deciding what their path to leadership is going to be. And so as a leader, I'd love for you to reflect, especially from that time when you were an individual contributor, weighing the options, how you ended up where you are, and kind of what your thought process is or was in making that carving out that path for yourself.
Definitely. So it sounds very familiar, that hesitation to be very, very honest between and when to do the move from IC into management. For the longest time, I have to be very honest with you, I resisted. I was very concerned about, not being close enough to the code. I was going to lose my technical skills. And I think my first, opportunity as a manager was actually at One Kings Lane, where I got to manage a small group of 3, almost like a tech lead role, where I actually was still in an IC. And I really enjoy the collaboration to understand what people wanted to do with their careers and how could I enable that. I actually, then went to Square as an individual contributor, and I had, my manager at the time was extremely supportive, and he said, would you like this opportunity of leading the team? Fun fact, he was going on paternity leave, and I said, what? I think it's time. I do think it really helped having a very, very supportive company. Square had quite a few programs that could really help you, women in engineering. I think I can safely say Square and DoorDash have been really true examples of, companies that want to invest on underrepresented talent and really have programs that empower you and role models. I think for me, having some women at the M level, really, I'm a rock climber, and, people sometimes say, in order for you to see if you can do the move, you just have to visualize it. And I think it's the same thing, in your career. If you see women that can do it and they are good role models, that empowers you. And I think, Square was a good example, and DoorDash is also, has a lot of programs. I mean, I've taken advantage of one of them with a Wolf program, which is one thing that DoorDash has, which is a 6-month program for people that have, I believe, 5+ years of experience that want to understand, management and sort of, to be honest with you, how to manage their career, right? Networking, how important it is, presentations, representing your work. I remember there was one about the elevator pitch. Be ready for that elevator pitch. If you had Tony in the elevator, what would you say, about your work? So learning to know what to think about, and also getting to know, was also a great opportunity to know other women within the org. Was, helps you, feel empowered and know where to go. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd love to bring us kind of to the present with my next question. We are going through a time like we've never experienced before. And I'd love for you to speak to some of the things that you do to support your team in this time of kind of very serious global challenge with the coronavirus and even many other things happening.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm very fortunate with the team that I have. Some of us had to, to work together for quite a little bit time. So we built a good culture that was very welcoming to new people. I have to be honest with you, I cannot imagine what it's starting a job, where you don't know anybody, you never see in the office. So few things that I really, really feel like brought the team together is that during stand-up, we have what is called the question of the day. So we go through the work, we check everybody's work, and then we reserve 5 minutes, sometimes 10, where each week somebody is responsible for coming up with a question, and it can be about anything, right? But it's such a fun way to get to know your coworkers. You find all sort of things, where they grew up, things they like, things they don't like, and it's also a very nice way to just bond. So that's something, we've been doing, and I think the team really enjoys. Other things like we had once a month sort of a game. This team, it's important to know what the team is into, right? But this team really liked board games. So we found a way of having, some more relaxed time where people can just, what we used to do in the office, right? That we can't do anymore. So really, being able to have some relaxed time. And then I think one thing that I've actually really loved that DoorDash does quite well is this concept of a Dashiversary. So every time you have a 1-year anniversary, you celebrate and you send an email. And that I felt like even doing COVID was even more important, because it was a nice way for you to get to know some of your coworkers, not so much in your direct team, hopefully you know them, but from other teams, and to learn a little bit about them, the fun things, and what are they good about. It's really like taking a moment to learn and celebrate others.
Yeah. Learning and celebrating and getting to know your team members is such an important part of that building of the culture and belonging. So I'd love to just segue into something that, of course, is very important to women who code. Can you speak to kind of diversity, equity, inclusion, and really what that means to you?
Yeah, I mean, as a person that has been, in different countries in the world, I really, really, believe that, you can give a lot and you can receive a lot just from, working, interacting with people from different backgrounds, different ways of living. I mean, I can safely say that I appreciate my country, my original country, Portugal, more, and I can also see the, amazing things that the US has, and hopefully I'll find out now about Germany, right? So really, and just also the coworkers, different ways of working, different ways of thinking. And if you think about it, I mean, I've done mostly product engineering all my career. I'm not building a product for one type of people. Our audience is very diverse too, right? So having different perspectives, it's really, for me, it's just fundamental, not only, as a person, but really, to be honest with you, even as a business, it makes total sense. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing with that, especially how important it is from the user perspective. So it's not just important for the individuals or the company; it actually also impacts the product and the user experience, and overall is just the right thing to do for the world. So one of the things I'd love to kind of bring forward is something that we both share. We are both moms, and I think that we could probably go on and on about this. But I would love for you to speak to being a powerful and successful career mom, how that's helped you, how that's challenged you, anything you would like to share.
Definitely. I could talk for a long time about this subject. So my kids are all teenagers now, so I'm in a very different phase from other people that I work with. I'm not going to lie, sometimes it was hard, for sure. I think what I've learned, and I think in partnership with my husband, was really finding the jobs that supported me in the different phases of being a mother, and really understand that, you have to have the right setting to succeed as a mother and as an engineer, and now as an engineering manager. Obviously, I can give you an example of this opportunity in Berlin. I could have not done it, if my kids were probably very little, just for, very, complicated reasons of how to move them. As a mom of teenagers, I have the opportunity. This is an opportunity of a lifetime for my career of building a brand new team here in Berlin. And, being able to bring one of my children with me, for example. But I like to, every time I talk to a mother, it's just, it's important to find the company that supports you. And if it's not supporting you, it's not your problem. It's just that it's not a good fit and you need to find that place. And through your, the same way as you through your career, you develop different skills and you have different needs, the same thing as a mother, right? So it's very important to just be aligned so that you are happy in both roles, are both very important. We spend a lot of time in our work, so we want to be, feel accomplished, but it's also important, to come home and feel, happy and be a happy parent too.
So what do you think are some of the most important ways companies can be supporting moms?
Yeah, I mean, younger children, even not. I think for me, flexibility in terms of in terms of schedule was fundamental when my kids were small. I mean, at 5 p.m. I had to pick them up from daycare. There was just no option, right? I mean, there was, whatever was happening at the company, I could not leave my children at daycare, right? So, for example, that for me was critical. I would do a lot of my work sometimes after, the kids would go to bed, and that's, was my personal choice, was being able to manage it that way. Now, I mean, I still continue to think that, just that flexibility in terms of, you have a doctor's appointment, you have, a school meeting, et cetera, it's important. It's different. Of course, my kids are much more independent. They'll, probably enjoy more when I'm not around too much, but, very, very different. But I do think it's, as a new mom, how can they support you? I mean, it's a big transition when you have your first child or your second child coming back to the office, right? There's all sort of feelings, you want to be close to your child, but you want to continue your career. So, having places where you can breastfeed, basic things, right? Those are super, super important, which I see now companies investing, and it really, really makes me happy because I was not as fortunate, I have to be very honest, to have some of those things. And I know how much it affected me, being able to do the things I wanted for my child. Yeah, those are just a few examples.
Yeah. So what are just some suggestions that you have for people who are in their technical careers right now, to be thinking about next steps and how to activate that, how to tell companies that they want to rise?
Yeah, so I would say, I think sometimes there's a need to just to please, and to please, not I don't know if I'm using the right expression, but to just follow and just, the company wants me to do. So own your career, really find your superpowers. Actually, this is something Tony, our CEO, once said, and I never thought about. I was sometimes so focused on what I wasn't doing well that I had to improve. No, what are your superpowers, and just double down on that. Optimize for success. It was something he said, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I never thought about it. What are the things I'm really good at? Because those are the things that you can bring to the table, right? Mm-hmm. And I think if you think of your career, and of course, I would say, don't be afraid to try things. I think, there's a lot of people that go from IC back to, management, and you get to experiment and see if you like it. I mean, there's people that even do it just because they want to, stay closer to technology or not. People managing skills is very different than, running a technical project. So, but I would say double down on your superpowers.
I love that you brought superpowers forward. We talk about superpowers at Women Who Code as well. Would you be willing to share some of your superpowers?
Well, I go back to, the DoorDash values. That was the one that resonates the most with me, is be optimistic and have a plan. I think that's really I am an optimistic person at work, and I have good energy. I get excited easily. I really love to work with people. So I bounced my energy from other people too, but I'm always ready with a backup plan just in case things are not working out. Yeah.
I love that. Be optimistic, but have a plan. That's fantastic. Okay. So I would love to wrap things up with a pro tip. So if you could share just a quick pro tip with 300,000 diverse women in technology that could help them in their careers, what would it be?
The power of delegation. That was something I've learned as a manager, that especially when you come from an IC role, you are a doer, right? You're down. And then to become a really good manager, you really have to learn to delegate and just empower your team. And it's scary as hell at the beginning, but it's super powerful once you do it. And you really get rewarded when you see your team succeeding.
Yeah. Thank you, Monica. Obrigada. It's wonderful to have had you today. We really appreciate you taking the time to connect with us, but also just being willing to step forward and be a role model for the Women Who Code community.
Thank you. And I wanted to thank the community, and I wanted to thank the Women Who Code, because I've been a member for a long time and it's really inspiring. And, I think we all, together can make a difference. And, in a few years from now, we are not needing to have to push the agenda on certain things, because it's just going to be the norm. So it's really exciting. I appreciate everything you guys do.
I like that. Optimistic, but have a plan.
Yeah, have a plan.
Wonderful. Well, thank you.
Thank you.